All right, let's get right into it. Do you ever get that feeling? You know the one? Like your brain has way too many tabs open, that your ability to just sit down and focus on one thing is just gone? It's a massive anxiety for a lot of us, right? This idea that our digital lives are just completely wrecking our attention spans. But what if I told you the real problem isn't your phone? What if it's something way, way older? I'm sure you've heard this one before. It's that killer statistic that's literally everywhere. You know, the one that says the average adult attention span is now just 8 seconds long, supposedly worse than a goldfish. It's the perfect little soundbite, isn't it? It just perfectly captures our collective fear that technology has completely broken our brains. So, here's the thing. Is any of that actually true? I mean, when you really start to dig into it, does this super convenient, kind of terrifying fact, does it actually hold up to scrutiny? Well, the short answer is nope, not at all. It's been completely debunked. But, and this is the fascinating part, a huge study from King's College London found that a full 50% of people believe it's true. So why? Well, the myth has stuck around because it feels true, you know? And that right there, that shows you this massive gap between what we think is happening and what's really going on. Look, just because the goldfish story is a total myth, it doesn't mean that the feeling of being distracted isn't real. It absolutely is. That same study found that almost half of us, 49% to be exact, feel like our attention spans are shorter than they used to be. So if it's not the goldfish thing, what is really going on here? Okay, to find the real answer, we're not going to be looking at your screen time reports. Nope. We're going to go back in time, and I mean way back, about 2,000 years actually, because it turns out we might be looking at this whole thing completely the wrong way. So let me introduce you to someone. This is Seneca. He was a Roman Stoic philosopher writing way back around 60 AD. And his whole argument was that the real problem isn't that we have too little time, or for us, too little attention. The real problem is that we lose so much of it. We just waste it. We are, in his own words, preoccupied. And you're going to love this. The stuff that preoccupied ancient Romans sounds, well, creepily familiar. Okay, so instead of running around pleading cases, we're buried in our email inboxes. Instead of cultivating powerful patrons, we're endlessly managing our social media feeds. The tech has changed, for sure, but that basic pattern of just being preoccupied, it's pretty much identical. So let's dig into that a little more. What exactly did Seneca mean by this word, preoccupied? And how does a 2,000-year-old idea connect to how we feel today? Well, the modern data is actually pretty shocking. Okay, so remember that UK study? It actually broke people down into 4 groups based on how they use technology. Now, sure, some people are doing just fine, but look at this. You've got stressed tech addicts and overloaded skeptics. You add those 2 groups together, and you're looking at over 40% of the population. That feeling of being totally overwhelmed, that is the modern version of the preoccupied life Seneca was talking about. But maybe nothing, and I mean nothing, sums this all up better than just one single number. 80. That's it. Just 80. What on earth could that mean? That is the average number of times an iPhone user unlocks their phone every single day. And here's the kicker. When you ask people to guess how many times they do it, the average guess is just 25. That enormous gap between reality and what we think we're doing, that's the preoccupation zone. It's all the stuff we do on autopilot without even realizing it. And this brings us straight back to Seneca. It's amazing. He wrote this to a friend, basically, calling him out for being so busy with other people's stuff that he had zero time to just look at himself, to listen to himself. I mean, come on, isn't that a perfect 2,000-year-old diagnosis of our constant phone-checking habit? And this all leads to what might be Seneca's biggest and most powerful idea, the difference between living and just existing. See, for Seneca, the preoccupied person is basically trapped. It's like they're stuck on a hamster wheel. They're so busy they forget to learn from their past, they're too distracted to actually be in the present moment, and they're constantly anxious about a future that isn't even here yet. He said their life is very brief and very troubled. Ouch. But then there's the opposite, the sage. And when Seneca says the sage devotes time to his own needs, he doesn't mean being selfish, not at all. He means claiming your time for the things that really, truly matter, like reflection and learning and actually working on yourself. The sage treats every single day like it's a whole life,
all in itself. So here's the big takeaway, the central point of his whole argument. Seneca believed most of us don't actually live long lives. We just exist for a long time. We let our time, which is our most precious thing, get stolen away by a million tiny, trivial things. And then we wake up one day and feel like life has just completely passed us by before we even noticed. Okay, so if the problem isn't a tiny attention span but a preoccupied life, what do we do about it? How do we fix it? Well, Seneca actually gives us a roadmap, and it's just as relevant today as it was back then. First things first, he says we have to recognize the biggest roadblock. He calls it expectancy. Basically, it's that habit of always putting real living off until tomorrow. We get so caught up in planning for our lives that we forget to actually live them. And the antidote is so simple. He says it's just live right now. And he breaks this down into 3 simple, actionable steps. Okay, step 1. Guard your time like it's the most valuable thing you own. Don't just give it away to anyone or anything. Step 2. Live in the present, right here, right now. It's literally the only time you ever truly have. And step 3. Invest that precious time in yourself, in learning and thinking and becoming the person you actually want to be.
So, in the end, the real question we should be asking ourselves has nothing to do with goldfish. The real question, posed 2,000 years ago but maybe more important now than ever, is this one. Are you actually spending your life, or are you just passing the time?